Hey guys, I hope you can hear me, and welcome back to A Girl in Time, World, and Mystery. I'm Jay Gibson here, and today we are going to start back this freaking podcast, okay? This episode is about what happened in New Orleans, the terror attack that happened. I found that I'm not going to be a weirdo and say it piqued my interest. I stumbled upon a person's TikTok, a Muslim woman's TikTok, that talked a bit about the unlikelihood of the situation of the killers or murderers, should I say, apartment or home and how it was left. And so before I start, I'm going to post that video clip right here just so you guys can get the briefing of like what I'm talking about in this video, okay? So watch this.
Am I the only person who feels like the guy who did what he did in New Orleans is not a Muslim and that this is all being used to manufacture consent? The reason I say that is because I saw a video of this journalist and she's walking through his home, which, by the way, why does the media have access to this man's house 48 business hours after he did what he did? Isn't this like national security? But anyways, so she's walking through his home, and as she's walking through, she comes across a bookshelf. And on this bookshelf, there are like a couple copies of the Quran. Makes sense. You guys said he was a Muslim, allegedly, right? And then as they're like looking, as the camera turns to the bookshelf and we see the Qur'ans, at the top of the bookshelf, there's a huge copy of the Qur'an that's wide open and it's on a stand. And immediately alarm bells start going off for me because I'm like, every Muslim knows we don't leave the Qur'an open unless our intention is to read it. Like, it's very weird to do that. And is that something that like an everyday non-Muslim or regular viewer of this channel is going to know? No. But as somebody who was born in the 90s and, was watching what happened in the early 2000s, it is very reminiscent of like very Patriot Act-esque, things to essentially weaponize consent for anything that they want to do. And I don't know, like there's more to it, but like the community doesn't know this guy. It is very interesting that like there's so many red flags and I keep being told he's Muslim. Like, I don't know. Is it just me?
Okay, guys, so I'm going to talk about the most recent updates on Google, okay? So either, which one do we want to do? We can do NBC News, BBC. Let's just go to the first one. This is from 8 hours ago. I will not be posting the video of the attack in here at all. So essentially on Bourbon Street in New Orleans, on New Year's Eve or New Year's celebration, a man drove a freaking truck into a crowd and killed like 14 different people and injured others, which is an insane and a horrific thing to even imagine that someone would even want to do that. I personally don't want to see a video of people dying or someone ramming cars into a truck into people. This is not something that I really care to see or like hear about, to be honest. So that website was just of the video, and someone passes, especially in a horrendous way. I don't want to disrespect the dead by like posting that type of video, Okay, so let's go to ABC News right now. Hopefully you can hear me through this wind. So with this video, in the wake of a deadly car ramming attack in New Orleans, bustling Bourbon Street, federal investigators have released a timeline of events surrounding the New Year's Day incident. So essentially 14 people were killed and 35 others were injured after a Ford F-150, I'm going to try to post that truck so you guys can see what it looks like because I don't know what it is, plowed into pedestrians, and gunfire erupted in the early hours of Wednesday morning. Essentially, that was a New Year's Eve to New Year's celebration. That's what was happening. And this man rammed a truck and killed 14 people. During the press briefing on Thursday, the FBI's Deputy Assistant Director for the Counterterrorism Division, Christopher Rea, noted that while the investigation into the attack is in its early stages, investigators believe the suspect is a 42-year-old Shamsud Dim Jabbar, acted alone. So you guys remember that video that I just showed you in the beginning of the Muslim woman who I follow on TikTok, discussing the inconsistencies about the person's apartment and how it was just weird and it felt very staged. So Jabbar, the person that killed 14 people and injured 35 others, is a Texas resident. He's a U.S. citizen. He was born in America. who FBI officials said claimed his support for the terror group ISIS in social media posts ahead of the attack, was killed in gunfire exchanged with New Orleans police. So basically, he had a fire off with New Orleans police after he had killed all those people and injured others, and he ended up dying. Additionally, an ISIS flag was recovered by authorities from the back of Jabbar's rented pickup truck following the rampage. Before we go on, it said he had an ISIS flag that was recovered by authorities from the back of his rented pickup truck. I find this interesting because, say, ISIS is definitely like a terror organization, of course. That's what they're labeled as, should we say. But the KKK is as well. And so like, if it was a Confederate flag in his truck, would they have made it a note to put that out there that, oh, he had a Confederate flag in his truck, by the way? Confederacy, those are the people who lost the war. Why would you have a flag of traitors, you know? So it's like, if you had a Confederate flag, would that be noted on media? Of course not. And also, it's kind of like the ISIS thing as well, when they brought it up, where'd they bring it up at? His support for the terror group ISIS in social media posts ahead of the attack. Do I believe that? I don't really believe that part either, to be honest. I'm not going to lie to you guys. I have no proof, but I'm sorry. What a coincidence. What a coincidence that a person who is being looked into for terrorism, who happens to be Muslim or have a, Arabic or Middle Eastern name, what a coincidence that, like, oh, they did something horrible and all of a sudden ISIS is involved. It's giving very much circa 2001. Okay. He was a U.S.-born citizen and Army veteran, so he was in the Army, who previously worked for the consulting firm Deloitte, I can't pronounce that, according to court records obtained by ABC News, as a portrait begins to emerge about Jabbar and potential motivations behind the attack. Federal investigators have laid out a timeline of events that led up to the incident officials have dubbed an act of terrorism. But all the school shooters, no act of terrorism. January 6th, there's no act of terrorism. So many incidents that happened, no act of terrorism, but we knew he was going to be labeled a terrorist once we found out his name. Because they're making sure ISIS is in this, ISIS is in the media, and terrorism is in the media.
We now know Jabbar stayed at a rental home in New Orleans beginning October 30th, 2024. He was in town at least 2 days. During that time, Jabbar, using Meta glasses, recorded a video as he rode through the French Quarter on a bicycle. This video shows Jabbar during that trip in October with his Meta glasses. As we continue to learn more about that trip, we ask anyone who may have seen or interacted with him to contact us. Now, for more information, Meta glasses appear to look like regular glasses, but they allow a user to record videos and photos hand-free. They also allow the user to potentially live stream through their video. Jabbar was wearing a pair of Meta glasses when he conducted the attack on Bourbon Street, but he did not activate the glasses to live stream his actions that day. Thanks to information that is coming in from the public, we now know Jabbar was here in New Orleans also on November 10th. But we are still piecing together the details of that trip. Moving closer to the day of the attacks, Jabbar is seen on December 31st at one of multiple gun stores he visited in Texas, leading up to the attack.
This is a following of the timeline of events that happened on Wednesday for New Year's. December 30th, a truck was rented in Houston. On Monday, December 30th, Jabbar rented a white Ford F-150 truck in Houston, Texas, through the car rental app Turo, according to officials. On December 31st, New Year's Eve, Jabbar drives from Houston to New Orleans. Federal investigators said that Jabbar drove from Houston to New Orleans on Tuesday. The drive is approximately 5.5 hours, spanning over 340 miles. On January 1st, Jabbar posts pro-ISIS video to social media. What a freaking coincidence, huh? The day of the incident, the day he dies. During the press briefing on Thursday, Rhea said that federal investigators found that Jabbar posted 5 videos on social media proclaiming his support for ISIS. The videos were posted between 1:29 a.m. Central Time and 3:02 a.m. Central Time, according to Rhea. In the first video, Jabbar explains he originally planned to harm his family and friends, but was concerned the news headlines would focus on the war between the believers and disbelievers, Rhea said. In one of the videos, Jabbar noted that he joined ISIS before the summer, according to Rhea. Rhea called the attack a premeditated act of terrorism. Here's our word terrorism again. January 1st, attack on Bourbon Street. At approximately 3:15 a.m. Central Time, Jabbar plowed the rented truck into a blocked-off section of Bourbon Street where pedestrians were celebrating the holiday, according to officials. The suspect mowed down dozens of people over a 3-block stretch on the world-famous thoroughfare while firing into the crowd, police said. Jeez. The attack left 14 people killed and 35 others injured, according to officials who said Jabbar was killed while exchanging gunfire with police during the rampage. On January 1st, explosive devices recovered. Following the attack, authorities recovered 2 improvised explosive devices left in coolers in the Bourbon Street area, Rhea said. Surveillance footage showed Jabbar placing the devices in the coolers, according to Rhea. Those were the only devices recovered, and both were rendered safe, he said. January 1st, victims identified. A young mother teaching her son to read, a former college football player on top of the world living in New York City, an 18-year-old aspiring nurse, a father of 2, remembered as the life of the party. On January 2nd, Jabbar's divorces and financial difficulties come to life. Jabbar had a checkered marital history punctuated by multiple divorces and financial difficulty, according to court records reviewed by ABC News. The records also show that after his military service, Jabbar worked for Deloitte as he aimed to grow his own fledgling real estate business. As of 2022, while employed at Deloitte, documents show Jabbar was making close to $125,000 a year, a salary that was chipped away at by court-ordered payments for his children from a past marriage, while being further eroded by credit card and mortgage debt. In 2012, his ex-wife, I'm not going to say her name, successfully sued him for child support payments for the couple's 2 daughters, who were 8 and 3 years old at the time, according to court records. 4 years later, in 2016, Jabbar filed for divorce from another wife, I'm not going to say her name, in DeKalb County, Georgia. In July 2020, in Fort Bend County, Texas, Jabbar filed for divorce from his 3rd wife, not going to say her name, whom he married in November 2017, according to court filings. And lastly, the last update was January 2nd, bomb-making material recovered from Jabbar's home. Bomb-making materials linked to the incident were recovered by FBI agents and local law enforcement Thursday after Jabbar's last known residence in Houston, Texas. The items found were also referred to as precursor chemicals by agents in the field, sources said. The items were found when agents executed a search warrant at Jabbar's home in the small community of Greens Point in North Houston. So, we all heard all that, right? Then let's go back to that original video that I reposted from the woman I follow, who happens to be Muslim as well. I found that, yeah, like, why would anyone leave any book open? I don't read, but I know so many people who read, and when they're leaving the home, they're not leaving a regular book open, let alone a scripture or a religious book open, just like on a certain page, you know? So I found that weird. Remember what happened in 2001? Now we see what's happening. They keep saying the word terrorism, terror. Yes, it was an act of terror for sure. But I think what the media is doing, that they are planting or they are setting up his apartment to look a certain way. Do I believe that? I definitely do believe that. We have too much proof of the government and FBI fumbling and messing up heavily on accusations on innocent people, but instead they stage it or they plant evidence and things like that. We see it regular cops every day planting drug evidence on people so they can go to jail. Like all this stuff. We've heard it time and time again. So do I think his apartment was set up? Of course I do. Of course I do. Do I think he made 4 videos randomly all of a sudden about ISIS? It's a possibility. I'm not going to say he didn't do that because we don't know what he did, you know? Is that a bit of a coincidence that he did that the day he attacked them and there was no warning signs beforehand? No warning signs beforehand. No post beforehand. No one saw anything beforehand. Do I find that strange? Yeah. Do I also find it strange that the media posted his ex-wives who had nothing to do with him to this date? Do I find it strange that they posted their names on worldwide news because they happen to marry a Muslim man or they happen to be Muslim themselves? Yes, I do find it freaking strange. I'm surprised they didn't post his kids' names with the audacity these media outlets and journalists have. I found that extremely freaking rude, to be honest, to post someone who's not even married to the man's name. He did something horrendous and you put their names on there. And we know now what's happening is a lot of jobs, especially in America, are Googling people's names before they hire them. So this could affect them. Finding out that they are linked to this man, this murderer, this person that the government is saying is a terrorist, and you guys posted their names. It's the audacity. The government and media have audacity. So this is why they always look back, because you guys do horrific things like that. I'm sorry. No, like, you guys cannot post these women's names like that in the name of journalism. No, that this person is accused of terrorism. Why would you link their names to him? What's online is online forever now. Like, that's horrific, honestly. Okay. The sticky situation about these things is that we've seen so many articles and so many scientific statistics about the male loneliness epidemic, about men going more conservative. Because he's maybe 42 years old, but that's still a millennial. About men going very conservative and women going very liberal. We're seeing these articles. We're seeing these statistics. We're seeing that, a lot of black men are going very alt-right almost, to where they're basically bashing horribly women. We're seeing more and more femicide, the war on women from men. We're seeing Muslim men as well. And I think it's hard and nuanced to talk about this topic because of the stain that 9/11 put on the Muslim community, especially in the Western world, Because now, regardless, a hijab, a name, a region of where they may originate from, that could all affect how people view them even today in 2024, even over 20 years later. That could still affect how they're viewed in the world. That's how hard it is to talk about this topic, because when you put ISIS in there, we put terrorism in there with a person who has a specific type of name and background and reading the Quran and things like that. It's hard to talk about. Do I believe it's possible this person did decide to be conjoined to ISIS? Yes, I do. Because again, we know that men are becoming more and more extreme and alt-right. We know a lot of black men are becoming very, very alt-right, going to Hotepism, going, anti-black, becoming anti-black women, becoming anti-women, becoming anti-women liberation. We know this is happening. When we hear, you're a Mormon, immediately, what do we think? Oh, they're too conservative. When we hear, you're from the southern part of America, what do we think? Oh, they're probably racist and probably part of the KKK. If they're white, or this person's probably like a religious freak and too conservative for me. We think of someone with a Muslim name, okay, they're attached to this horrible word of terrorism, sadly. Or when you think of a person who's maybe, he's Muslim, okay, I don't want to date him because, again, like many other religions, that's too conservative for me. He's Jewish, sorry, no, that's too conservative for me. I'm not dating a guy, because, again, so many ethnic cultures, whether it's Arab, whether it's Hindu, whether it's so many cultures, have people's ethnicity intertwined in between them. Some of the foods, some of the languages, some of the specific words that they use, some of the specific phrases that they use, how they wear their hair, how they talk, how they speak to each other, how they interact with one another and older people and their parents, and how they treat women is all culturally is all based off of a religion. Whether it's Judaism, whether it's Christianity, whether it's Catholicism, whether it's Hinduism, whether it's being a Muslim, Islam. So many of that is intertwined into culture, into like just who a person is. It's not just about a person's name or their ethnicity, because again, their ethnicity is intertwined with the religion of Islam, of being a Muslim. We don't see leaders in general of any religious community telling men to calm the fuck down and get it together and stop treating women poorly. No men of any religious community is doing this. But when you have the stain of terrorism in that word on your religion, you would think it would be more of a priority to say, hey guys, we have the stain and you need to get it freaking together. We need to stop all this nonsense and we need to get it together. Because you guys are causing havoc to either our women, because this is his third marriage, to our women, to the world, and it's looking bad on us. You saw all those people converting to Islam and stuff like that after Palestine and things like that. They had to rebrand it, the media, and say, oh, wait, this horrible person did this horrible thing and they happen to be Muslim. It's a non-ending cycle, honestly, of BS. But yes, right now, what needs to happen is men of all religions, leaders of all religions need to start speaking up and telling their men they need to stop the nonsense because they're harming the world. They are the issues. If I just told you what happened and didn't tell you the person or the name or their gender, you guys would know it was a man. Regardless of anything else, regardless of him being Muslim, him having an Arab name, his age, where he's from, regardless of if I just told you the basics of this horrible incident, and I said, oh, guess person's gender, or guess that, you guys will immediately assume, 100% of you would assume, oh, it was a man. Because again, men are the problem. It's not him being Muslim. It's not him having an Arab name. It's not him being believing in the Quran. It's not even him wanting to be in cahoots with ISIS. It's him being a man. And I think what the media is trying to do is they're trying to other him. Oh, he's this, he's that, he's trying to other him. But he was also a veteran. He was honorably discharged. He was a veteran. So instead of them trying to blame ISIS, he was in the army for 8 years? They should have went back and said, okay, where was he ever deployed? Were the effects in the mental gymnastics of the army, is that what negatively affected him and pushed him to want to join ISIS and pushed him to want to kill 14 people and injure 35 others? Is that a possibility? No, but they're trying to push it on ISIS. They only had that one little thing, oh, he was an army veteran. No, tell us more. Where did he serve? Was he deployed? Where did he do his boot camp? What rank did he get at the end? He was honorably discharged. Why did he want to leave in the end? Did they do a psych eval on him? Is that why he was honorably discharged? So many things, But no, they're doing the cop-out, which is what the government, FBI wants the media to do. And so they're saying, oh, no, blame ISIS. He posted 4 ISIS videos. That's why it's hard to believe he posted ISIS videos right before the attack, and that was it. He didn't post anything else before that. Like the person said, how did the media get access to his apartment? Isn't that a crime scene? He's a terrorist. Won't you think it's just insane. Oh, he got chemicals that can make a bomb. If you went in my cupboard where I have my cleaning supplies right now, you would find chemicals that can make a bomb. Like what exactly did he have that was so dangerous that could possibly be made for a bomb? Chemical. If I go to any of your houses right now, you guys would have stuff that could be made that anyone can blame and say, oh, that person, that could be a bomb. If you did the wrong thing, they can go to your house and say, oh, that person was kind of make a bomb and trying to make this, and it's hard to believe, So back to it, I think that we really need to get on this because men are becoming more and more dangerous to the rest of us, to even other men. And the issue is him being a man and him growing up in this society and a religion and a culture that allows him to have audacity and the arrogance and the selfishness to do what he did. Only men have that. Okay, so let's go into the victims. Hopefully you guys can still hear me and see me. I know it's getting dark out here, but here's what we know about the victims so far from abcnews.go.com. Kareem Badawi is 23, and his final text message exchange with his son, Bilal Badawi, wishes his son a Happy New Year. Kareem Badawi responded, "Happy New Year, Baba," which is Arabic for daddy. The text message was the last communication Bilal Badawi had with his son. The family traveled from Baton Rouge to New Orleans on New Year's Day to track down Kareem Badawi, eventually learning he was killed in the attack. Horrendous. The next, Tiger Beck, 27. Martin Tiger Beck's death was confirmed to ABC News by his mother, Michelle Beck. Michelle Beck said her son, 27, played football at Princeton University, moved to New York City after graduating in 2021 to work for Seaport Global, a capital markets firm. She said her son was in Louisiana for a long weekend of hunting and fishing, two of his favorite activities, with college friends from Princeton. He was scheduled to fly back to New York City Wednesday afternoon. Drew Dauphin, 26. Drew Dauphin's death was confirmed in a statement issued by Auburn University President Christopher B. Roberts. Dauphin, 26, was a 2023 graduate of the university, according to Roberts. On behalf of Auburn University, I send my sincere condolences to the family and loved ones of 2023 graduate Drew Dauphin, who was taken from us in the New Orleans terror attack. Nakira Cheyenne Dudo, 18. I heard about her on social media. Nakira Cheyenne Dudo's death was confirmed to ABC News by her mother, Melissa Dudo. Melissa Dudo remembered her 18-year-old daughter as a kind and outgoing woman who was excited to attend nursing school this year. She was a sweet person, she was outgoing, she was very loud, said Melissa Dudo, who said goodbye to her daughter for the final time Tuesday night. Melissa Dudo said she begged her daughter not to go to Bourbon Street for New Year's Eve like she had done the year prior. So sad. Billy Demois, 25. William Billy Demois, 25, is being remembered by his former teammates and coworkers as a kind-hearted and hardworking young man. At Homedale High School, Demois was a star lacrosse player who graduated in 2017. Billy was a remarkable young man on and off the field, the Homedale High School boys lacrosse team said in a statement. Hubert Gothrow, 21. Hubert Gothrow, 21, was identified as a victim in Wednesday's attack in a statement from the Archbishop Shaw High School in Marrero, Louisiana, from which he graduated in 2021. It is with great sorrow that we share that alum Hubert Gothrow, class of 2021, was tragically killed in the senseless act of violence that occurred early this morning in the French Quarter, a statement from the school said. He was 21 years old. Reggie Hunter, 37. Reggie Hunter's death was confirmed by his first cousin, Cheryl Jackson. He did not deserve this, she told ABC News' Diane Macedo. It's senseless, it's cruel. I wish none of this had ever happened. Jackson said Hunter, 37, leaves behind two sons, 11-year-old Landon Hunter and 18-month-old Christian Hunter. She described her cousin as the life of the party with a big heart who was funny, loving, and caring. Terrence Kennedy, 63. Terrence Kennedy's death was confirmed to ABC News by his sister, LaTonya Kennedy. Terrence Kennedy, 63, loved spending time in New Orleans' French Quarter, according to his sister. She remembered her brother as a man who could make friends with anybody he met. Nicole Perez, 27. Nicole Perez, 27, was confirmed as one of the victims by Kimberly Usher Fall, her employer and family friend. Usher Fall said Perez had recently been promoted to a manager at one of her stores, and she was recently excited about the position. She said Perez brought her 4-year-old son, Melvin, with her to work, and she was helping him learn how to read. She was a great mother, Usher Fall told ABC News' Diane Macedo. She just was a really exciting little young lady, and she was getting herself together. Latasha Polk, 47. Latasha Polk, 47, has been identified by her family as a victim of the New Orleans terror attack. Marking the last of the 14 victims to be identified, her family described her as a devoted mother to her 14-year-old son, dedicated nursing assistant, and loving sister to her 8 siblings. Edward Pettifer, 31. London's Metropolitan Police identified the British citizen killed in the New Orleans terror attack as 31-year-old Edward Pettifer, according to the Press Association. His family described him as a wonderful son, brother, grandson, nephew, and a friend to so many. According to a statement provided through the Metropolitan Police, his family has requested privacy during this time. Brandon Taylor, 43. The New Orleans coroner said Brandon Taylor, 43, of Harvey, Louisiana, was one of the deceased victims. Taylor was a skilled musician who loved spending time with his family, according to his nephew. Matthew Tenedorio, 25. The death of Matthew Tenedorio, 25, was confirmed to ABC News by his parents, Luis and Kathy Tenedorio. Tenedorio worked as a fiber optics and video professional at the Superdome and Smoothie King Center, according to his parents, who said they felt he had a boundless future. Kathy Tenedorio described her son as the life of the room, whose warmth and humor was treasured by his friends. Asked what she would miss about her son, she answered everything: his beautiful face, laugh, "I love you, Mom. You know he was just a wonderful son." Elliot Wilkinson, 40. The challenges in Elliot Wilkinson's life, including homelessness and mental illness, really diminished his kindness to others, according to his brother, Cecile Wilkinson. Even if he didn't have a shirt to put on to give to you off his back, he'd still find something to give you to put on your back, Cecile Wilkinson told ABC News. Elliot Wilkinson was born and raised in Slidell, Louisiana, and had 4 siblings. And that was the last of the victim I could find on abcnews.com. So that was an emotional one. I had to fight back these tears. There's not much to say out of that. This was a senseless terror attack. This was a terror attack. It's hard to say that because I really don't like using that with people who are from Arab countries or originally from Arab countries or people who are Muslim. I really don't using that word intertwined with them at all. But this was a terror attack. He killed 14 people and injured 35 others. That's horrendous. There's no reason for that. Selfish, arrogant, the audacity to do that to someone. Shame, shame, shame. Now, do I believe the murderer, Jabbar, is going to be a reason to why we may go into another 9/11, 2001 attack on the Middle East? Do I believe that could be a reason in the future? I believe anything's possible. I do not believe in conspiracy theories. I believe in my own thoughts. I know that's been floating around. This is going to be a reason to why the American government is going to put more acts of terror onto the Middle East. That's a possibility for sure. For sure. Especially now that they want him intertwined with ISIS on the media. That's all they're saying. And it's not even putting the emphasis on him being a U.S. citizen, him being from Texas, the South. And what do we know about the South? What do we know about more conservative states? What do we know about funding? What do we know about mental health? What do we know about military? What do we know about all these things? We know that that breeds terrorists. Conservative states with lack of education, horrific education in these conservative states. The male loneliness epidemic and religion, no matter if it was Christianity or Islam. Religion for these men. All of these combined doesn't always, but definitely can, and we're seeing it more and more, breed terrorists. It's sad, honestly, but this is the reality. So before we blame ISIS, we need to blame the Muslim, honestly, leaders, because it's like you guys are not doing a hard enough job making sure that this ceases to exist. Even though this is only one Muslim person out of like hundreds of school shootings that we've had this past decade, honestly, ain't that big of a deal. But the reins need to be tightened because this is not okay. This is looking bad because the media is just plastering this around. He had an ISIS flag, he had this, he has that. We don't need another incident where being Muslim is synonymous with being a terrorist. We don't need that situation happening ever again. So we need to rein this in with the men. So with that being said, this was a long video. I hope I said what I needed to say. I know I'm a very passionate person. That's just how I am. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. This is my first video back. Make sure you guys like, subscribe, follow, rate me, and comment. Find me on Spotify. You can find me on Google Podcasts. You can find me on YouTube. Just follow me anywhere. You guys want videos like this? Start following me, because the next one is going to be informative as well. But thank you so much. My condolences goes out to these victims' families and their loved ones and their communities, because this is horrific and a horrible way to find out and a horrible way to start the new year. I couldn't even imagine. Thank you so much. It's been great getting back onto this. Now you've been listening and watching It Girl in Time, World, and Mystery with Jay Gibson. Ciao.